Welcome to Papa's Honey Acres. I'm Bill. I'm here in the honey house and extracting honey. It's August 8th or August 9th, 2025. I'm just going to show you how I do this. I've got a frame uncracker here that I put the boxes in and then push it down, and it makes it a little easier to get the frames up and in. I've got a Pierce Curaco uncapping knife. This is a Hilco uncapping tank and Hilco 16 frame extractor. I love that. Nice and quiet. It's running right now, and I'm trying to get my lights done right now. And I've got a darker honey in there, so I'm going to switch that around here. These are some heavy. This one's a heavy super anyway. Pulled a few frames out of this before I brought it in. That's how I get that crack there. I've got a capping fork here, and what I'll do here is take, scrape the tops of these, get some of that third comb, cross comb, or whatever it is off the top. And I try to keep everything in pans. I don't know if you can see, I've got over here, there's a pan with a bucket there for that, and then I've got a Hilco, I think it's a 17-gallon bottling tank that I use to fill up my buckets that are on a scale, and so I fill my buckets up to 55 pounds each. So I'll just go through a few of these here, kind of show you what I do, and makes pretty short order of it. Hopefully I have a lot of my capping knife to get ready to go. Looks like it. I brought this in, I think on Monday. Today's Saturday. I brought it in, and I've got a heated room next door here that I use to get these boxes heated up to about 95 degrees, and it makes the honey flow a lot quicker. This room is 86 degrees. It's too hot for me, and that's just from bringing. It was about 75 when I got started this morning, and just bringing these heated boxes in brings it up those extra degrees. The Curaco heated uncapping knife works really nice, and I have a Simple Honey Farms. It's a roller slicer and capper, and it works really well. I do like it, but this has kind of turned out to be my favorite way to get it, gets the comb even, so it's not sticking out so far. To some of these you can see, or you know, the bees just make it thick when they got it, and it won't take them much work to get these back to the thick frames again. And I got to keep an eye on my uncapping tank. I've got the valve shut on the bottom of it, and I just got to kind of regulate that. It comes out faster than that strainer will allow. And I do have a strainer on my bottling tank there, so I can use that to strain instead of using the bucket strainers. And I have done a little bit of that, trying to keep that strainer clean to where it flows into there pretty quickly. I'm not going to have the harvest that I've had the last few years. I think last year I got around 800 gallon or 800 pounds, and this year looks like I'm going to be maybe 600 or 700. So I'm not sure exactly what all that's about, but thankful that I'm getting what I'm getting here. And it's a nice fat frame. There's a lot of different ways to uncap, and I think whatever you're kind of used to. Hilco has a new knife that's supposed to be kind of a copy from Kelly Supply's Colt uncapping knife. I know that Mike uses, or he has a Kelly Supply uncapping knife, and I know I think he's got one from Hilco that he's going to give a try. Mike is the best with that Colt uncapping knife there is. He's got it figured out. Mike Berry, the famous Mike Berry. I just run the capping fork across those, make sure that they open up. Everything's been coming through good, and coming out pretty clean on the extractor when it's done. Take a look down here and make sure we're not getting backed up. Getting this, it's almost like an oatmeal, the cappings and stuff down there. Getting that off the strainer down here to help it run just a little bit quicker. And once I get the frames out of there, I'll go through and just kind of clean the box up a little bit. Get the frame rests, propolis off of them. This is just a homemade, simple frame cracker, but it kind of works out nice with this aluminum pan that's underneath it. I got it off of Amazon to catch this propolis and stuff that comes off the boxes. The next one, not sure what I've got here, if it's light or dark, but it's way up there. And it's heavy. own bee farm. Uses the rubber mallet to get those frames loosened up there. That's where I got that idea from. This will be a coal frame here. It's got an old wax foundation with a little sheet of plastic in between it, and then metal bars on both sides. And they've drawn that side out, but this side isn't drawn out, and it's pretty much useless as it is now. So once this gets extracted, I'll scrape the wax off of that that's on there, and then pull that out of there. Okay. Looking for light. Light colored wax, or light colored honey. You can tell the bees have found all kinds of different floral to go after, because one side was pretty much all light, and we've got that little dark mixed in there. This one isn't uncapped. We'll do a little refractometer on that just to see where it's at, but everything I've had so far has been around 15% on the moisture. I don't expect this to be any different. Yeah, this one, it is different. It's 13. See if I can give you a view of that. Hopefully that's coming through. So that's dried down nicely. Luckily it's warm, so we can come out of there pretty quickly. I'll give you a little shot of what I put on this summer to help me with warming up. There's a little heater there that works perfectly, and then I got those fans that I put on top of the boxes to cool them down, and it's 92, 38% humidity, so it did a really good job. I can go ahead and turn that off now since there's nothing in here. There we go. Sorry about the dragging around like this. Maybe I can get that edited out. So, just keep on going. It's ready to go here. I'm going to turn that stacker up a little bit. I actually start out at about 210. This is bolted down so it doesn't, 210 RPM, doesn't bounce around too much. But this is high torque, that's 300 RPM, and that's as loud as it gets right there. Very quiet, smooth running machine, built to last forever. He's got a new one now, a 36 frame extractor that has the motor on the bottom, and that's a great idea. I think it makes it much easier to clean when you're finished up, and I don't know, I don't really need a 36 frame. I'm just hoping that he goes into the 18 frame and does the same thing. And if he doesn't, that's okay. This is a great extractor. I've always thought it'd be nice to have another one going, but I really can't keep up with this one. The way I get the frames ready for extraction here with the uncapping. They're partially capped, mostly capped this side, and that side's mostly uncapped. But being we were around 13 on that other one, I'm not even concerned with this one. How do you guys uncap yours? Do you use a hot knife or cold knife, or just scraping fork? It'd be nice to have a machine uncapper or one of those heated slicers that has the knives that the frames go down. But being a small scale that I am, it really doesn't make sense to spend that kind of money for something that I really only do once or twice a year, and that's harvesting honey. As soon as I get finished up with the extraction, I've been started on taking care of varroa and watching the hives to make sure they're going to be fed and ready for winter. Starting to get into the darker, so have a little bit of light in there. It is pretty dark on that side. Very dark on this side. Usually let that capper or extractor run like that for a good ways, and then I'll go ahead and hit the reverse button and have it go the other direction. Very little air. This one, once it's extracted, I'll take it and put it in a pile of frames to be re-waxed. Once they're like this and they pulled all the wax off everything else, you got to either use a crayon and rub over there so the bees will draw that rest of that out. Go the other way. It's now running in the opposite direction that it was running, and I'll let it run at that direction until I have 16 frames ready to go for work. And we'll unload the extractor and load it back up. Clean the box up. If I was to remake this frame cracker, I would make it a little bit longer, a little bit wider than what it is now, because one thing I've noticed is some of my boxes, especially the older ones, have peeled off a little bit on the corners here, and so you can't get it down into the frame cracker. And it's splayed out like that. The main things when I'm extracting honey I gotta pay attention to is the buckets. I've been fortunate this year and haven't had any overflows, but I've had years that I haven't been quite so lucky. And that's a mess, and it's a shame. With these pans that are there, at least I'm not wasting it, but you gotta do an extra step to get your everything to be ready to go. But it's not too bad, because I just take and set those pans into this extracting tank, and everything goes on down into the bottom, and then I drain it off into the buckets there. And one more. Got a little mark on this tank. It's right here. It shows me when I've got the number of frames I need to fill that extraction tank up. or you can count them. Hands cleaned up. Got a little bucket of water here that I use since I don't have a sink in this room. So a little bit of Dawn dishwasher soap in there. That's a full box of honey. All right. I put 9 frames into each box if they're drawn out. And you can see how well those are drained out. Sometimes you'll fill one that has a little bit of weight to it, and it's generally because you missed uncapping a little bit of honey somewhere. Hey, cool, and when I told you I was going to take out of there, must be in this next batch. I was thinking I missed it. Let me bring you on around here so you can see this getting loaded up. Very easy to do. I'll show you the inside here before I turn it on. This is a bit different than the newer ones that John has. It doesn't have the slope bottom. It does have that honey gate that's at the very lowest point it could be. And very little, I do have to scrape a little bit, but very little when I'm finished up. That's where that bottom motor would be handy. It'd be much easier to pull this basket out of here and clean and stuff. But again, I'm not complaining. I do love this machine. Don't drop the frames. better now than with a bunch of bees on it. Here's the one I want to get rid of. All right, bring you around here to let you see the working parts of that. Put my hands up here. So this is the inside of this extractor, and I generally take it, like I say, up to 200. 225 there, and you can see that honey slinging there. It's slinging out wonderfully in the bucket. Down here, here's the honey coming. I'm gonna go ahead and shut that off. I'm gonna change the buckets out here, and I'll show you what I do with that. Go ahead and put the lid on that. Okay. Let's tighten the gate up here so it doesn't leak on me. Okay, now I don't have to be concerned of that overflow in there. See the, I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's blowing out of there. Nice steady flow of honey there. I'm going to go ahead and start uncapping a few more here as I wait for that strainer to get finished up, and then I'll put it in the bottling tank and then fill up a 5-gallon bucket. Must have been a box that I put on towards the end. Just has a little bit of honey in it. This one's full, not capped. Some say that the honey flow had shut down when you've got honey this dry and yet uncapped. But, flow it slowed down to where they didn't get capped. I don't know if that's true or not. I heard it though. I got an interesting story. When I was pulling the supers off, I had put the V-escapes on and then came back 3 days later and started pulling supers. And I've had this happen before, and I know better, and yet I didn't pay attention to it. I had a deep box that I had up as a super, and it had a lot of bees in it, and I looked and I took too quick of a look, didn't think I saw any brood or anything in there, and as soon as I started blowing bees out, I noticed some brood in there, so I stopped, looked everywhere I could, had another box that came off with that. It was a super, just had honey in it and no brood, and didn't see the queen. So I put, when I pulled supers, I made sure that all the boxes were double deeps and had a feeder in them. And so I put the one with the queen back there, and then I put a V-escape on again so I could pull that one that I put on, the deep that I put on for making it a double. Went back yesterday and the box, I pulled that box off because the bees were out of it, and I looked down in the double deep there, and praise God, that queen was still there. She was still laying. She hadn't abandoned me, so I was mad at myself for a long time for doing that, and it turned out okay. All right. Set this strainer up here. Wash my hands, and we'll dump that bucket into the bottling bucket, and then we'll fill up that 5 gallon. Like so. And then we've got our scale weight there. We've got our bucket down here. We'll just take and open our gate here. You don't want, this is where I just about messed up today, is I got busy with something else as I was filling the bucket up, and the next thing I look over there, I try to fill them up to 55 pounds. Looked over there and it was 65 and just about to the rim of the bucket. But when we had dipped that out, I don't like leaving it up that full because it sticks onto the lid, and you lose some on the lid when you do that. So I got it back down to 55, and I pay attention now. We're at 42. $50, 3, 54, 55, 4. There's the weight of our bucket there. I'll grab another bucket, pull that one off. Sits. And we just keep repeat. So that's it. You just keep on repeating until you get through all the boxes. I've got this to go, and that'll do it for the harvest of 2025. I'll come back at the end here and let you know what we wound up with for this season's total. And thanks for watching. And if you like this, please hit that like button down at the bottom and give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, I appreciate you doing that, sharing this with your friends.